Postafazul. She's around, she's a firm, she's a fully packed, she's around like my head. She's flat like your head.
Last month, for the first time since 1972, NASA released a blue marble, a single snapshot of the Earth taken from outer space. And so much has changed in the decades between that first picture and the second. Borders have shifted, generations have come and gone. Our global population has nearly doubled. But one thing hasn't changed. Our planet is as beautiful as ever. It still looks blue. And it's as vast, but also as fragile, as miraculous as anything in this universe. This blue marble belongs to all of us.
I'm delighted to share with you that NASA has been named the best place to work in the government in the large agency category for a fourth year in a row. Our workforce continues to do amazing things, from carrying out a journey to Mars to developing the aeronautics and space technologies that will make our future brighter, and I couldn't be more proud. This year, the entire world watched as New Horizons sent back the first close-up images of Pluto. We made new discoveries about Mars that will help inform human missions there. We learned more about our home planet and our changing climate as newer Earth science missions began to return their data. The Orion spacecraft and the Space Launch System rocket that will carry us again to deep space continued to reach new milestones. In cooperation with our industry partners Boeing and SpaceX, we moved closer to commercial launches of astronauts from American soil.
We have pictures.
Technology continued to drive exploration
You ain't got
in space
shit to what
and
they
in the
show
air.
you. Grow
and we
up,
made
kid.
advances toward a future in which
Real
we
people,
make air travel
real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Broadcasting straight to you from a large spaceship currently looking far and wide for any scientist to discuss the flat Earth concept. Will we find one? Stay tuned. Hello everyone and welcome to Strange World, where the truth is often stranger than fiction. I'm your host, Mark Sargent, the creator of Flat Earth Clues, which propose that all of us are living inside a Truman Show enclosed structure thousands of miles wide. Check it out at enclosedworld.com or just Google Flat Earth Clues. If you can't find it, you may still be trying to use the Art Bell Network. My good friend and personal wingman for the show, once again, Jonathan from Jersey. What's going on, man?
How's it going?
No complaints whatsoever. But before we get to all the fun stuff, because we got stuff to talk about,
Sure.
And remember, nobody call in tonight because what you're listening to right now is a recording. It is not a live show. If you guys start calling, know that because it's the holidays and because I'm actually live on the Jimmy Church Show at this time, that you will not be able to talk to us. But a special thank you to a cookie person, Terry B. from Canada. No more than an hour or so ago, I got a Christmas care package from her from Ottawa, Canada. And she sent me the most great, amazing Christmas gift box. Oh, my Lord. It had cookies and tea and books and music and videos and all this fun stuff, and lots of writing on the inside of it, and lots of inscriptions, and it was very faith-based. I cannot thank you enough. I do not have words. I'm not going to just go into great detail all the stuff that was in there, but that rivals stuff I used to get to at college from my mom. It was incredible. So thank you, Terry. I know we've only talked a couple times on the phone. Did not think for a second though you would be so generous in your gifts. So thank you very much.
That's very cool.
I know. Let's go figure.
And can I ask you one question before you start the program?
Yeah.
Is it Memorex?
Is it live or is it Memorex?
You sound like you're right in my ear. You sound like you're right here, live.
It's weird because technically we are talking to each other right now, but yet the listener does not realize.
Isn't that the weirdest thing? Like we're yesterday.
Yeah, we're yesterday.
And then we're going to be here now as you're listening, the listener.
Yeah.
And for some who can't stay up late, we're going to be here tomorrow in YouTube. We are time travelers.
We are time travelers. It's mind-blowing. So before we get into mailbag and all this other fun stuff, quick little review on what happened during the Stanton Friedman debate. Well, actually, it wasn't a debate as much as it was a tutorial.
Do you want me to give me my scorecard?
Do you have a boxing scorecard?
I scored the fight. What was it, a 10-rounder?
More like an 8-rounder, but actually we went.
Didn't knock him out.
No, I didn't knock him out.
You went 3 hours. That's more like a 15-round old school fight.
Yeah. That we were at the end. We were kind of just pushing each other around the ring and stuff like that. No, it wasn't that bad. But did you have any first impressions?
Yeah, I score the fight.
I dread to. Yeah, go ahead.
Mark Sargent, you won 10 of the 15 rounds.
Wow, that's fantastic. I'm very excited about that.
You did pretty well.
Well, I mean, I felt bad because you and I talked about this ahead of time, and that was one of my the only thing I was going to be disappointed with was if he didn't do the homework ahead of time. Mm-hmm. And he just went in. It's like, well, flat Earth. It's not like they're being literal about it. It's not like they're actually talking about a flat Earth, which is exactly what we're talking about.
Right.
And so when he went in, we actually, I had to go in and describe in detail what the model actually looked like. And he was hearing it for the first time, even though I know he listened to some of my clues anyway. I just don't think he understood it because it was such a huge block for him because he had to get over the hurdle of, well, if what you're saying is true, all of NASA has to be a lie.
My whole career.
Yeah. Some of these are friends of mine. What have wrote a forward to my book? It's like he kept going back to that. It's like, well, what he couldn't process all of it. And I understood that was going to happen. He's like, what about the probe out by Pluto? I know I'm sort of sounding a little like
Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, Jimmy Stewart. Come on, kids, sit around the radio.
You people don't understand. Potter's not selling; he's buying. I know that movie.
This is a great movie. Anyway, but that's what he was doing. He just kept going back to it. It's like he kept saying, "Well, you're calling all these astronauts liars." I was like, "Well, yeah, but not in." And I tried, because he and I spoke again today.
That's why when I said what I said when I called in,
yeah,
I gave him that consideration, and I said, I don't think anybody's trying to call anybody a liar. I think they were limited too in the parameters in which they were working. And like I said, at the time, those were your John Waynes. Those were your men of integrity to the degree that they would serve this country, as honorably as they could, doing their job.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm glad that they served that way and they weren't, not double-sided, but you know what I mean? Like they weren't going to sway. They weren't going to give up on America. If that was their order to go to the moon, that's damn well what they're going to do. If they had to drink Tang, they were going to drink Tang.
Yeah.
And they weren't going to question those orders all the way up. I mean, they didn't know. Look, if somebody puts you in a capsule and says, we're going to shoot you to XYZ, that's pretty ballsy because these were test pilots and everything else. You mentioned the movie The Right Stuff, which I was surprised he said he never saw.
I was surprised as well.
Right?
When he went down the movie thing, it's like, well, they haven't made a movie because it would be boring. It's going, so The Right Stuff that was nominated for Academy Award, actually won. It was nominated for Best Picture. I think it lost to Gandhi, but it was nominated for Best Picture.
Oh, was that the same year?
Yeah, same year.
82, 81?
83.
'83. Okay.
83. And he's like, well, the Moon movie would be boring. It's like, really? Because Right Stuff made a lot of money, and it was set up more than anything for the sequel. You know, where you go to the moon, you know, the big, putting the flag into the ground in America, rah, rah, wave the flag. Never happened. And, you know, but...
And speaking of cinematography-wise, that was a great movie. I mean, I remember so many of those scenes.
The Right Stuff?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Awesome.
Great movie.
Awesome.
But he, you know, I will say this. He's stuck by, you know, he can say what he wants. And I'm not going to pick on him too much. But I have to call out a few points, which is, one, I think he was being very hypocritical when he was saying, well, you know, I don't trust NASA, and they've got a lot of problems, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, he believes that every operation they did was legit. Yeah.
You know, let me bring up a different aspect, though, because this maybe, you know, ties in with the flat Earth or not. Say world governments along with Antarctica. When did they lock that place up? 58?
59.
59, okay.
Yeah.
Let's say they really started getting into the exploratory phase of the Earth at that point, after the Nazis came over, Operation Paperclip and all that.
Yeah.
And they maybe had to recover alien technology and other things around the world without bringing attention to it. So what better distraction than Vietnam War or going to the moon or anything else, so that people are all highly concentrated and focused on that aspect of the military program, which, by the way, when you listen...
Oh, I heard that part.
When I called in and I said Department of Navy, and he goes, "No, we're not." He goes, the way he said it, he goes, "No, they're not."
Yeah, he was very adamant about that.
And then he goes, "Wait," but me and Melissa started cracking up. He goes, "No, they're not." Well, supposedly.
And I've called it out. I mean, I listened to it. I wasn't going to chime in because you were having fun with it. But I was going to say, what are you talking about? They were built on military technology. NASA was founded on the backs of
they're not.
The Nazi war machine.
Supposedly.
But yeah, and I said to him, you know, he laughed when I said, well, you know, NASA's the one, they wear white uniforms, they don't carry guns, you know, they're on camera a lot, they're waving, and he kind of chuckled at that. But he still believes that everything they did was real. And I was like, all right, that's fine. You can believe that, but it's not going to change the fact that
And I was just thinking, there was another comment I made too, and I forgot what the context was, but I kind of slipped it in there. I slipped in the word shill, and I slipped in about the UN. I said, well, it's on the UN flag, the flat Earth.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I forgot what the context was.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because I didn't bring up the flag to him.
Yeah, so I wanted to, like, zing him a couple times, like, just to plant the seed, you know, because then it's like,
Well, he's going to, at this point, he's going to be asked to do other things because he's the only guy that has done somewhat mainstream stuff that is even broached the subject. So will he be allowed, or will he actually go out and talk about this more? We'll have to see. But the first go around, yeah, he was having a tough time because he just didn't know anything. And I had to surprise him with it. You know, some parts, even though he was a nuclear physicist, the fact that he didn't know anything about high altitude atomic testing. He didn't have any. It's like, where'd you get that? It's like, what are you talking about? It's on Wiki. I didn't have to dig it up from anything. I got it from a guy named Eddie in a back alley. No, it's on Wiki, all the packages. Well, you don't know if you can trust those packages. Like, then how can you trust NASA if you can't trust that?
Is he a nuclear physicist? Like, did he really just install, like, fire alarms for a living and dispose of them? Because they have Americanium in them? And that's kind of like a janitor that says, I'm in waste management?
No. He was a physicist back when they really didn't know much.
Okay.
That was the thing. He was a physicist back in the late 50s and 60s, early 60s, when they didn't know anything. And so that's why, and he fell for the trap question, which, again, it's a trap question because it can't be answered, which was, how they get past the Van Allen belts. And it's like, wow, they aren't very dangerous. You know, it's like,
we're talking about old school. Like, he wore those old uniforms from the 1950 sci-fi thing where they had, like, it looked like a spade shovel handle with a shoebox, and that thing that went, you know, when it detected radiation everywhere.
Yeah,
that's the kind of guy he was.
Yeah, that's the type of guy he was. Yeah,
I'm picking on you, Stan. I mean, I had respect for him. I do, and he's in a position where, yeah, he's been on Art Bell and everything for so long. Maybe he realizes it's not his place either to disclose this.
Well, look, he said himself, well, I got about 8 years, 8 or 9 years left. It's like, okay. Which is, you don't hear that from people usually. It's like, they're putting an expiration date on. It's like, this is how long I got. And you'd think that, like, why don't you go out with a bang on this one, man? This is way more interesting than all the old school stuff you've done. People have heard the alien stories. We've heard it all. So, anyway, but I thought it went okay. Glad he did it. Glad we did it on Truth Frequency, though. because, as you know, Chris and Cherie just let it go. I didn't even hear Chris for like, I don't know, 45, 50 minutes at one point. He was just, I knew he was there. I was just going, okay. And it was great. You know, he came forward and did it. On Art Bell's network, I don't think it would have been as free-flowing. You know, I mean, I don't think Art Bell would have said, you know, damn the sponsors, just let it go.
No, Art Bell would have interjected anytime he could, especially if you had Stanton on the ropes. He would have came in and ran. He would have been like a bad referee that gets in the way too often.
Yeah. But again, Stanton doesn't know. Now he does. Now it's going to be in his head, and I hope something comes of it. So,
you know, Chris handled this kind of like Tina Turner in Road Warrior Thunderdome. He was like 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. He just stayed out of the way.
Yeah, that part was fun because you don't see that very often. I mean, we had commercials in the beginning, and then there wasn't a single commercial to the last 5 minutes. And it's like, so we ran 2 hours and 20 something, 2 hours and about 2:20 without a commercial. That's amazing. And at one point, I did not know if, you know, I was half tempted. Chris, I was listening though, because every once in a while, I had to interject with something. It's like,
sure,
because I was worried because, you know, Stanton is out in the time zone where nobody's at. Most people know in the United States, it's really only Pacific Mountain, Central, and Eastern. But there's a 5th time zone where nobody's in. And it's the Atlantic time zone. It's an hour ahead of Eastern, and it's up above Maine.
Where's that, like Nova Scotia?
Yeah.
Is that where he is?
Well, close.
Huh.
Actually, Nova Scotia is 30 minutes ahead of him. But it was, by the time we were done, it was pushing 2 in the morning.
Well, wait a minute. What's beyond Maine? Does he live in Canada?
Yeah. He's got dual citizenship. I did not know that either.
Huh.
So tougher to drone strike him. Because you got to do the whole airspace thing. It's just a pain in the ass. Anyway, so again, thought it went well. I can't, you know, looking forward to seeing what happens in the near future. And tomorrow night, tonight, I am actually live on Fade to Black on Jimmy Church's show, which is airing at the exact same time as this is.
I was just thinking about what you said too. Like he kind of gauged it, like he had 8 or 9 years left, right? He's figuring he's had 90.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, that's what they promised him. They promised him one of those packages, like in The Running Man. And then 2 years from now, Neil deGrasse is going to disclose the truth. He's going to be running for his life in a maze, and he's going to stumble upon Stanton's rotten corpse in a locker room underground.
Nice.
Remember that scene?
Yep, I remember that scene very well.
The dog tags are still on him.
Yeah, the winners. Dodd.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't remember all their names, but I think one of them was Dodd. Yeah.
Anyway.
The past winners that weren't actually winners at all.
Yep.
Do you have a counter going, by the way?
I do have a counter going.
Let's do letters in the second one because I want to hear your view because we haven't really talked about it. You went and saw the new Star Wars.
Ooh, you don't want me to review that, do you?
Well, give me kind of a...
Are you going to say it?
What?
Did you say it?
Did I see it? No, I didn't see it because I saw I'm not going to get fooled again. You know, the George Bush things. Fool me once. Well,
I'm beyond angry. I'm almost as angry as Mad Max Fury Road.
Well, that's why, because Mad Max scored 90-something%, and because all the reviewers love the director. And in this case, they love George Lucas and they love J.J. Abrams. So you can't lose, right? Whoever else was involved, and it scored 90-something%. But all the reviews, when you read them, they all said the same thing because it's pass-fail, right? It's not like they're giving it something out of 10. It's always pass-fail. And they said, yeah, it's good enough, you know, but it rested on its laurels a lot, and it could have.
Let me just say this: it sucked, and Rotten Tomatoes sucks even worse. I used to go to that site, and they suck.
Really, it wasn't.
They give it 95%, the critics, and I don't know if it's because they want to keep their goddamn jobs. Their jobs as, you know, critics or whatnot. But I don't know what movie they were watching. It was so. They repeated the same jokes, basically. It's like they didn't know what to write, so they had to rehash everything that they did from the first movies.
Yeah.
Like, I was sitting next to Melissa, and I would whisper to her, watch, they're going to turn on that table. And sure enough, in the Millennium Falcon, the guy inadvertently puts his head down on the checkerboard table, and here come the little creatures, right? They had to visit that again. Yeah. It was so cliche at every turn.
Yeah. There's so many things that we have seen. That's why I kept reading. You saw them all the time.
You saw, and here's the sad part. All right, now what was your memory of the lightsaber? Who could wield a lightsaber?
Who could wield it?
Yeah.
You mean who were the characters that wielded it?
Well, could anybody pick one up and activate it?
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody can turn one on.
Oh yeah, anyone can turn them on, but you'd be dumb to try to turn it on if you didn't know what you're doing. It's like running around with a really sharp knife.
Right. So you wouldn't automatically know how to use it per se.
No.
Okay. Well, all right. Can I go there?
Oh, you want to do a spoiler? Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess this is a spoiler. If you're going to go see this movie, go see it, but I'm going to give you some spoilers right now. So I'm going to give you 3 seconds to turn off the radio. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Go.
All right. So the dude who's like the hero, this guy Finn, he's a black guy, first off.
Yeah, which is what George got enough pressure, only took him 30 years. But go ahead.
Yeah. But I'm gonna stress why this is important here, because when you look at the Star Wars, the Empire, they're very Nazi-esque. They're that white Germanic Nazi-esque character, right?
Yeah.
Even the uniforms are like that.
Yeah.
All the commanders, all the generals are that white European-looking Nazi.
Yeah.
Of course, the first stormtrooper to have a conscience, of course, is black as midnight black. He's from Nigeria. He's not even like mulatto black like Obama.
Okay.
He's black.
Okay.
There's no all right. But here's the thing. He snaps out of this programming or whatever that stormtroopers are, because here's the thing, they're not clones. They're a specially trained army in this instance. The guy didn't want to use clones, so he trained his own army.
Okay.
But they don't give you any connection as to why he snapped out of it, other than he saw his friend killed in a stormtrooper battle.
Okay.
From there, he automatically gets enlightened, if you want to say that. He had epiphany to then know how to operate a TIE fighter gun, to knowing the plans to the new Death Star, which is a whole planet. Like all these other things. And the guy, and Han Solo even says to me, he goes, what was your what did you do as a stormtrooper? He goes, I was a sanitation person. So I said to Melissa, I said, imagine you work at Whole Foods, right? Or Monsanto.
Yeah.
And you're only in sales, or you only work the cash register. If somebody says, man, I'd really like to break in that place, can you help me out? It's like, oh yeah, I work there. I'll give you the plans to the security system. You see what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't just know the whole layout of the whole freaking place. But that's how the movie proceeded throughout. And here's the thing. The guy who's the main, I guess like Darth Vader, right? The bad guy with the red sword with the cross.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is just so wrong on so many levels. When the dude picks up the lightsaber, he starts fighting him with it, like as if he's an expert sword player. I used to work at Medieval Times, and they actually had a guy train us how to do sword play.
Yeah.
The same guy who trained Arnold Schwarzenegger for Conan. The guy was from Spain.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to sword play. Like, you don't just pick it up and start like poking and throwing and thrusting. You have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
The main dude, the main evil guy, was trained by Luke Skywalker himself before he turned. So you're saying all of a sudden he went from the baddest dude in the universe to now doesn't know how to fight against an amateur who picks up a lightsaber for the first time? And the same theme repeats with the girl. And here's the thing. This is where I'm thinking, like, this is this whole liberal agenda push, and I hate to make this movie political, but you have a girl, a white girl, and a black guy taking on the Force. So it's your classic liberal, of today. Sure. Taking on, okay. Han Solo gets offed. So, again, you don't need a father figure. Yeah. Right? Leah's married, he says, go get our son. He's the bad guy. The guy, when he reveals himself with the mask, again, he has that whole European look, that typical, old 15th century European kingly look. Yeah. And he gets killed. And then there's the colors, the blue and the red. The blue is, of course, Democrats. Red is the Republican. And the red is in the shape of a cross, like the old Crusaders.
Sure. The religious right. Yeah.
Right. So they got the religious right against the liberal. I'm like, really? Like, how many things? And then, of course, there's that element of multiculturalism at the end when the camera pulls away. There's this panning shot of all the different races, of all the different people that comprise the Democrat. I mean, the
alliance.
The alliance.
Wow.
And I'm saying this is so blatant and in your face. It's like,
wow.
Why they put? Yeah. So I don't know. It's almost like this guy Finn. Yeah. He kind of like makes up for all of Obama's failures of the past 8 years, and they put it all wrapped up in this one hero.
Oh no.
I mean, is that I'm going to get a lot of crap for this.
You'll catch some. Yeah, sure.
But you know what? I'm not lying. When you go and see it, whoever goes and sees this will say, holy crap, he's not kidding. Yeah. And here's the other thing, too. This character was so out of character. Let me ask you this. What kind of person do you think exists under a stormtrooper before you found out that they were Boba Fett?
What kind of
demeanor would a stormtrooper be?
The standard soldier. Kill, completely brainwashed drone.
Lockstep, goose step, all that crap.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy, once he took off his mask, here's the problem. He started acting like, and I'll just say it, like an American black guy. He was like kind of loose, kind of like Cuba Gooding Jr. in Boat Trip. Did you ever see that movie?
No, but I can imagine.
He was really bombastic. He was really like over the top, like kind of like his enthusiasm was too like, let's go.
He never would have passed psychological screening in the first place.
That's what I'm saying. Like he was more like an excited Will Smith, you know, like scoring a basket or a touchdown, than he was like somebody who would like lose their cool like that if they had just been from a reformed stormtrooper to breaking out of that. You think they would keep it on the down low and keep a little cool, right? Keep their head cool.
Yeah.
So it was just like it was like, you know. So I said to Melissa, I said, you know what, the Force is uppity with this guy.
Wow.
Is that too strong?
No.
Here's my point, and this is why I'm going this direction, trying to piss people off here.
Yeah.
You don't need to, again, whether this is a galaxy far, far away and a long time ago, don't make the current political scene and climate and whatever.
Don't build it into the movie.
Don't build it into the movie, because we've already accepted that in the future or in the past, whatever, that in that element of fantasy world,
Yeah.
everybody is uniquely who they are. They don't have the issues that we have here in America or in Europe or anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you could draw parallels like people do with Star Trek. They say, oh, yeah, it's obvious that the Klingons is this race of people, and it's obvious the Ferengis are this race
Oh,
of
yeah,
people.
sure. Yeah.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
And that may or may not be true based on the artist's rendition and projections into their characters. But by and large, in sci-fi, the beauty of it is that you don't have xenophobia, for one thing.
Yeah.
You're not afraid of people not only the next country over, but the next planet over.
Yeah.
And you don't have racism. You know, none of that exists in that. You know, everybody's kind of in survival mode for themselves, or they're going to work together and get along.
Yeah.
And again, I just saw too many politics in this movie.
Yeah. So, in other words, J.J. Abrams did not have nearly the same pull when he tried to reboot this like he did with Star Trek.
No, he had a clear-cut agenda.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, somebody had an agenda, and it's unfortunate because I do like some of his directing style. I love the 2 Star Trek movies, which he did, but sounds like I'm not going to be watching this one anytime soon.
Yeah, and the girl too. When she picks up the lightsaber.
Yeah.
I won't say what she does, but again, another one, a total wizard with a lightsaber, and it's like, who trained this slob, this guy with the mask? And you find out, it was Luke's disciple. Like, really?
Wow.
So,
Wow. All right. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, everything works in the future. If something's broken, it's just like fixing your car in the driveway when you have too many parts at the end. When you put the engine back together, the hell with it. You just throw it aside. That's how they fix crap in this universe. Millennium Falcon was like bucking and chucking, and so the girl goes, hold on a second. Bang, bang, the little door opens up. Oh, this is the problem. Rips out the wires. And then all of a sudden the light speed engines kick in. It's
Seriously?
like, huh? I swear to God, it's just like that. And it's several times throughout the movie. Oh, nobody here. The people that build our nuclear power plants in this country must be in Star Wars world too, because the codes to get into something, guess what? They're not even as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like in Spaceballs.
Okay.
They're worse than that. There are no security locks on anything, anywhere. You hit your hand on an electric button and you're getting into the security room. You're getting into the weapons chamber.
Well, you got to move the plot along.
Well, here, wait. She's a prisoner in this Death Star planet.
Yeah.
She gets out. I won't say how, but she gets out. She's going through the hallways. Now there's whole armies of stormtroopers walking in, lockstep, 4, 6, 8 at a time down the hallway, right? Now, granted, they have helmets on, so they probably have limited peripheral vision. They can't see around corners. But when her friends appear, Han Solo and on the whole bunch of them, when she turns the corner, she gets startled, almost shoots him with a blaster. How's that? Look at it. Even if she didn't have the Force, for women's intuition, she should have been able to tell that they were around the corner. Let's put it. Okay, wait. Oh man, we're over time here. We're at 25 something.
Okay. Well then
we don't cut this out. Cut out something from earlier.
Well, no, you're going to be the one cutting it.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Want to go to break?
Yeah, go to break.
All right, bye.
Welcome back to Strange World. I'm Mark. This is Jonathan, and we were talking Star Wars and all the bad things, but we're done now. The problem is, see it if you want. It's not going to beat Avatar with $2 billion. Yeah, it had a $250 million weekend, but I think they spent that actually in marketing. And by the way, you can always tell, the fact that Subway, the food chain that picked it up was Subway. If it was a knockdown, drag-out, smash hit with no complaints, McDonald's would have bid, because McDonald's always will have the winning bid, or Burger King. But they did not. They opted, no, you know what? Subway has the bid on this. They can have it. Which meant
on what? On Star Wars?
On Star Wars, which meant they got to see a pre-screening of it, and because that's how it works nowadays. You get to, we'll get, we want the food contract, but we want to see what you're going to be releasing before we bid on it, before we bid for the food contract. And it's Subway ended up getting it. As soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, I understand now.
Well, can I say something just to piss people off further?
Sure.
Maybe just like a black guy ruined this Star Wars. The CEO, Don Thompson, who's now leaving McDonald's company, he's black, and they've done the worst they've ever done.
Oh, wow. Seriously, dude. If you want to leave that in, it's on you.
I'm kidding.
The opinions of Jonathan not necessarily reflect this station or the...
No, but he is stepping down, and then that business isn't doing too good. Okay. I think people are waking up to GMOs and everything else.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Do you want to start this segment over again?
No. Let's keep going. It's totally fine. We've done worse, honestly. It's totally fine. Okay, let's go into the mailbag. Letters. We get letters. We get stacks and stacks of letters. Pam writes, I believe what scares me is what event mankind is going to create, like global warming. To me, this only makes sense if there is God. He did it to protect us because we're idiots. Who else shoots nuclear bombs in the heavens for let's see? Wow. At this point, I'm concerned we don't have a lot of time due to the fact once people get past laughing, it will spread like wildfire. I'm sure somebody is not real happy with you all. And the one thing we know something is scaring them. Look at the world. The people in power are freaking out. Look at all these things we've been lied to. The Twin Towers, World War has already started. Get every single group and piss everybody off. Divide and conquer. The answers are in the Bible. And she goes in a little bit further. Just my opinion. Love you guys. Pam from Alabama.
Interesting.
All right. 1 second. John writes.
Not me.
No, not you. John writes, just getting into the most recent repost to YouTube, and it struck me that the Obama Nation quote could be shortened to time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society with its accompanying cheers. That would be sweet. And you know what he means there. So he's saying somebody chop up the edit. Actually, it's pretty clever what he thought of. So remember the Obama on the lawn where he goes, we don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society. He says chop up everything up to the word time. So instead Obama says time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
Oh, that's good.
Followed by cheers.
I'll chop that up for you. You can put it on this video.
Right on.
At the beginning.
Right on. Yeah, chop it up for me. That's great.
All right.
Right on. Thank you.
By the way, and I was saying a lot of things, and I'm not looking to incite anybody. I can inspire with my words, or I can give insight. So, how many black people are into the flat Earth? Because not for nothing, when I look at demographics, that's important to me. That's an indicator of many things on a psychological factor, a meme, and so on and so forth. Yeah. And if black people aren't looking at this topic or any other ethnicity, I'm thinking this is yet another crazy white conspiracy thing, kind of like, Trailer Park UFO kind of thing.
No. There are definitely a sector of African Americans, or whatever we're saying nowadays, in this theory. No question. There has been videos made, no question, by pastors, just individuals. I think overall they're not in the conspiracy world as much as white people, but they are out there, no question.
No, but I mean, you know how certain stereotypes, people portray them, especially in conspiracy topics.
Yeah.
And the ones that get associated with, the topics in our conspiracy circles.
Yeah.
It's always some white guy, right?
Yeah.
Typically, whether it's a tinfoil hat or whatever.
Yeah, crazy white guy.
Crazy white guy.
Yeah.
Usually. It's the same kind of guy who writes a manifesto and goes shooting up a place. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
They always associate it to flat, not flat Earth, but like UFOs or other conspiracies.
There was a black comedian. I can't remember who it was. He had an unusual name, a stage name, but he had a good point. And he goes, look, he goes, I know what you see on the news. He goes, but don't be afraid of black people. Be afraid of white people, because white people are nuts. He goes, white people will kill you, chop you up into pieces and bury you under the front porch, and then pretend to go out looking for you with the search party the next day. And he pretends to be a white guy with a flashlight going, Katie, where are you, Katie?
That's pretty accurate, man.
That is true. Only white people think of the weird shit. I mean, all the horror movies, yeah, the killers walking around, the nuts, they're the white people.
Right? I mean,
Anyway,
I'm from Newark, New Jersey, so like I said, I have a diverse background of friends and people I hung out with. But it was always that white guy with 3 names that I'd always get scared.
Yeah.
What's what's that guy's name? Gacy.
Oh, John Wayne Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy. Yeah, it's like they always have 3 names. It's like
yeah.
Psycho killer.
Yeah. When white people snap.
Oh man,
it's not pretty.
Yeah.
Anyway, Aaron writes, "Hey Mark, hope you're well. If you reference this on air, please keep it to my first name, please." And I did, Aaron. This might be as good as the Back to the Future clock. I was watching Gotham on Netflix, season 1, episode 15. 30 minutes remaining when I caught it. Quick preface: the detectives Bullock and Gordon are interviewing a higher up at the posh school. The office seems to naval in theme. Is that a... anyway. I have attached 2 images highlighting the find. And he basically shows another flat Earth clock in an episode of Gotham, season 1, episode 15. It's like, yeah, all these little references are starting to show up more and more in television, and it's good. It's good stuff. Again, the internet hive mind misses nothing. Mm-hmm. Who else we got? We got Malav. Malav writes, "Love your work and credibility. Please make sure the due credit goes to the observatory. Thanks, Mark. Please only use my pen name, Malav." And he doesn't want me, but basically what he sent was a link to, and I should send you the link before I do this stuff like this, but it was from India, taking on Copernicus. There was a guy in 1993, a guy that said, the Jain Research Center in Gujarat still preaches that the Earth is flat. So this thing has been simmering in the background in some circles, in small places, for a number of years. And but yeah, that one goes back all the way to 1993. But only in 2015 did it start getting really nutty. And what will happen in 2016? I bet Jonathan's got some predictions, and we'll probably make those predictions at the end of the year, won't we? Try to make
yeah, we're gonna have some big predictions, right?
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna make some, but mine, you can take with a grain of salt. Jonathan's, though, you should pretty much pack a bug-out bag if he starts talking about it. So.
You want me to use my spidey senses?
Yeah. So once you use your spidey senses, if you can, if you're allowed.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. Randy writes, "Hey Mark, hope all is well with you. The speed of the moon and the sun, assuming the Earth is a plane, assuming the Earth is not spinning at 1,060 miles an hour, assuming the moon is not 237,000 miles out, and assuming the sun is not 93 million miles out. Question: how would one even come close to figuring out the speed of the sun and the moon as it travels across the sky?" What are your thoughts? Thanks, Randy. Basically saying, how do you figure it out if the Earth is a plane? Can you figure? Basically saying the math involved in the Copernicus model is quite a stretch. You're making some massive assumptions, which I talked about before, and that is you had to make some huge. You think the flat Earth thing is a leap of faith now? Imagine what it was back then. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, the sun is 93 million miles away. It's hundreds of thousands of miles wide. The moon is 237, which makes everything has to plug in together, and you're making some big assumptions. So thank you, Randy.
Cool.
Yeah. Moving on. Let's see. M Lone writes, "I saw the video recently, and I should have forwarded it to you, but I'm sure it's easy to find, of the Russians landing a remote-controlled craft on the moon. Not only was there Russian camera crew there waiting for them, but you could actually see the stars in the background, which are not seen from the U.S. missions. Why is that? P.S. They look like stars posted in the background by grade school children. Yeah, people what's also happening is people are looking more and more into the the little details. And yeah, why would there be stars? Why are the Russians showing the stars and not us? Yeah, makes you wonder. Let's see. He also writes, this is a good one. This is the second one he sent. He sent this to Jeranism and myself. What would become known as Lookout Mountain Laboratory was originally envisioned as a fortified air defense center built in 1941 and nestled in a 2.5 secluded acres of what is now Wonderland Park Avenue. The installation was hidden from view and surrounded by electrified fence. By 1947, the facility featured a fully operational movie studio. In fact, it is claimed that it was the world's only completely self-contained movie studio, with 100,000 square feet of floor space. The covert studio included sound stages, screening rooms, film processing labs, editing facilities, an animation department, and 17 climate-controlled film vaults. It also had a helicopter pad and a bomb shelter. Over its lifetime, the studio produced 19,000 classified motion pictures, more than all the Hollywood studios combined, which I guess makes Laurel Canyon the real motion picture capital of the world. Officially, the facility was run by the United States Air Force and did nothing more nefarious than process AEC footage of atomic and nuclear bomb tests. The facility retained as many as 250 producers, directors, technicians, editors, animators, both civilian and military, all with top security clearances, and all reporting to work in a secluded corner of Laurel Canyon. The existence of the facility remained unknown to the general public until filmmaker Peter Caron was the first to learn of its existence through classified documents he obtained while researching the 1995 documentary Trinity and Beyond, which I own. And yet, even today, 20 years after its limited public disclosure, one would have a hard time finding even a single mention of this facility anywhere in conspiracy literature. And it makes sense because the government would want to control everything. And why subcontract the bulk of your work through Hollywood if you can build it for yourself? It's only money, after all. So, did you ever hear about Lookout Mountain Laboratory?
I don't know. Hold on. Let me look this up right now. Lookout Mountain. I've never heard of Laurel Mountain.
I did not know it existed. But again, it does not surprise me.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Huh. Well, there you go. Well,
I'm not big on UFOs anymore. I used to be when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then I even did field research, like I mentioned to Stanton, with that guy, Dr. Bruce Cornett, up in Pine Bush. But I just got so burnt out on it because there was too much crap coming out on Fox and, all these programs, and it was the same old stuff. And, with CGI getting the way it is, it's hard to even tell if something's authentic or not anymore. I mean, there's a lot of good fakes out there.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
But you think something would crash in public at some point. Why does it always have to crash somewhere remote, like Roswell? Yeah. If I was going to crash land in a UFO, I'd just right in the middle of New York City.
Just auger it into somewhere. Unless there's protocols. Yeah, well, in New Mexico, dump it into Santa Fe. Why not? Unless there's protocols in place saying if you crash in a populated area, you're screwed. We're going to send it. You better die in the crash because if you don't die, we're coming after you. Whoever's running the show, like the 1561 Nuremberg thing, which I mentioned, where there appears to be ships that have a hierarchy that control other, that they're kind of like the police or the UN or whatever you want to call them. So, excuse me. Peter writes, I recently came across a lot of evidence that the world is not a globe as commonly believed and is actually flat and stationary, much like the Bible describes it. I'm curious if anyone in the group has done any research into this and what they think of it. And he had sent this to a few people in academics. I think they were high schoolers, though. So the teacher writes, never heard of such a thing, but I did win a debate. Oh, here it goes. I did win a debate that the world was flat back in high school. There are enough people who think they are the center of the universe, you might be right. The guy responds, so cool. What are some of your arguments for the flat earth? Do you remember? And this guy was Joel. So I'll just say it's Joel, the guy that argued. He goes, it's been a long time, but the reason we won the debate was the debate rules. It was the physics class, and we were debating from the perspective of pre-Copernican science. In other words, the round earth people had to sufficiently prove their point. My debate partner got up in one of the rebuttals and said, these people are crazy and don't know what they're talking about. The guy said, classic response. I wouldn't fault anyone for reading this post to think I was crazy and mock me without doing a lot of research. He goes, we saw the pictures. And Joel says, believe me, The other debate team wasn't happy. We didn't have a lot of facts, but we didn't need them. It was up to the other team. We just needed to defend the current position. And yeah, you're absolutely right. The tough part, the reason why this thing, again, is resonating, I said this on a thing I did today, the reason why it's resonating is that the mountain of evidence from the round earth side, the mountain of evidence that should be there behind them, should be able to squash flat earth in 2 seconds, and it can't, because when you look at it, it's not a mountain. When you actually take a closer look, it's just bits and pieces. And then you have to say, well, wait a minute, if there's only a picture here and a little limited bit of video there, where's all the thousands of hours of video footage of the earth rotating? Where is where are the tens and tens of thousands of pictures of everybody taking a full-blown sunlit picture of the earth? It's not there. The burden of proof is on mainstream science. So from the flat earth perspective, you say, oh yeah, you got to prove to me it's flat earth. It's like, no, we don't. Because it's all on you, man. You've had 500 years to create a tidal wave of evidence that should just be able to smush anything when it comes to flat earth, and it isn't. And that's why everyone's kind of, people are getting suspicious so quickly, is because, wait a minute, science should be able to stomp this thing down, and it's not. Why not? Because you don't have anything. Everyone says, well, we've got a lot of pictures. We've got a lot of it. No, really? Where is it? Remember, you probably heard me. That it comes down to one word. Where? Where are all the things that mainstream science has claimed for years and years? They say, oh, yeah, we've got it. But just because you say you've got it doesn't mean you've actually got it. You got to show it. And they haven't. So,
good point.
Yeah. How many minutes till the next break?
We have about 9 minutes,
okay.
10 minutes.
Perfect. This will be a good chance for me to. And by the way, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, some of the things I say on this program, I look to stir things up so people talk. It's just like Facebook or anywhere else.
Yeah.
You post something intelligent or in depth, and people just gloss over it or just skip it.
Yeah.
You post something about kittens or something, and you get 1 million likes.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I like to stir things up and just to get people angry, even just to talk.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to generate. I think flat Earth is the same way.
Yeah.
I think when you present something, like they're kind of like taken aback at first, and no, this can't be right. But until they get to that point of anger, and I think that's where people first attempt to debunk it, because it challenges them so much.
Yeah.
And then there's some that, again, even some of the exchanges on your channel when you open up the discussions, there's people that I go after, not because I want to go after them, but directly, indirectly, I want to go after the people that are going to pile in because they won't comment, until they see somebody make the first blow. It's kind of like that mob mentality. Yeah. And I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I told you the most controversial, my stuff gets a lot of play in conspiracy circles, but then somebody took all the clues, lumped them together, slapped a different sticker on it, which was, he said they were hiding God with the greatest lie the greatest lie ever, and put it out really in religious circles. And it's the #1 flat Earth video currently running. It's got it's pushing 800,000 now, but it's really split. It's like 60-40, pro versus con. And again, it's the controversy. It's the raging debate, the thousands and thousands, people just beating each other up. And it's debate is healthy, and in this case, there is nothing I can think of more polarizing than this. And you can go into race or women's rights or abortion or separation of church and state. Nothing comes close to this thing does, and it shouldn't. That's the weird part. It shouldn't be that. Shouldn't raise that many emotions in people, but it does.
Well, and that's the thing. I was thinking about this too. If there was a space to go out into or explore or represent the Earth, I would try to select from a pool of people that don't have any interest in politics, have no interest in sexual or gender issues, that have no loyalty to any flag, any nation, any country.
Yeah.
I want people that when you test them, you set up a criteria of tests, almost like with the hidden cameras. Like, you ever see that show, What Would You Do?
Yeah.
And you see how people would react when they don't realize they're being recorded.
Yeah.
And to see, it's like somebody who wants to go into politics. You really shouldn't elect anybody who wants to go into politics, because obviously they're driven by something else.
Yeah.
But to really look across the board and say, oh my God, like, let's poll the whole of the United States and see who not only scores well in tests, but maybe is involved with civic activities or, volunteerism, other criteria that really represents a more holistic human being.
Sure.
Somebody who's even bipartisan. And so that's my point before. Like I said, what Star Wars really upset me is that they didn't make they didn't make characters, and this is the same with the flat Earth. There's some people that take it onto themselves, like it's their topic, like even fundamentalist Christians, like they're fighting it from that standpoint.
Yeah.
It should be representative of like, we're all in this together. We're all fighting this together, just like Star Wars. You're either on the side of the Empire, or you're on the side of the, what was the other side?
The Alliance.
The Alliance.
That's all right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even then, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there should be no loyalty then.
Yeah.
At that point, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, Chewbacca goes with Han Solo as, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one, it's not two different, I don't know.
I hear you.
We got to get to that point with this flat Earth, too.
We'll get there. Don't worry. It'll eventually happen. It's at this point we're just trying to define a model. And again, I love the enthusiasm that everybody's got. I know there's multiple camps, but you got the fact that there's I'd like camps that disagreed rather than no camps at all, or camps that just didn't have the energy behind them.
Well, I think, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because even with having Stanton on the other day, there are people that might be totally in support of you wholeheartedly and really like the way you champion this cause, if you want to say it that way.
Yeah.
But then as soon as you have somebody like Stanton on, their first loyalty was to maybe many years of listening to him, like I did on Art Bell.
Yeah.
And appreciating what he had to talk about and, again, entertain me on one level, educate me on another.
Yeah.
So I don't want to totally destroy the guy or tell him that his models are incorrect or that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a really tough place because it is an emotional thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Where do you think the middle ground is with this thing ultimately, with the flat Earth? Like when it gets revealed, is there any middle ground?
You mean like, can it? Is there a balance that you can do between the public and the government?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like when Windows forces you to go to Windows 10, and you're like, well, can't we keep some of Windows 7? The parts that worked.
Well, some of it you'll be able to keep, but as you know, it would be such a huge, major economic upheaval. The only thing that would save the people, I think, from running in the streets and burning it down is the opportunities. They're going to be all over the place, because you're going to be changing a lot of stuff. Big resurgence in spirituality. The fact that defense contractors, though, will not be making weapons of war against their own people. You're going to have to retool those guys.
Right.
All the militaries of the world, what are they going to do? It's academics will have to change. I mean, there's going to be a lot of rewriting of stuff. And so there's going to be, again, arguments and debates over the definitions, if it goes that route, if it goes the peaceful route.
But that's the thing I hate about any kind of change is that, we build not only societies on it, but like it's just like It's a Wonderful Life and everything else. It's like, what if you found out that Jesus wasn't real? Okay, say they had definitive proof in some way, and I'm not trying to upset anybody.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying from a purely historical standpoint. And then all of a sudden your stories and movies like the Ten Commandments or anything that you enjoyed at one time.
Yeah.
Not that they're not losing with the current generations now, they don't really mean as much anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like as traditions change, as certain things change and dissolve away, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, and look at the science fiction movies. Yeah, there would be a massive change, a massive shift in everything that we know as a civilization, and which just kills me when people say, "Well, why does it matter if the Earth's flat?" I still got to go to work in the morning. It's like, yeah, but you may not have to go to work you may not be going to work for that long, depending on where you're working. And two, everybody's going to be talking about it. No, that's all I need. Every magazine, every radio station, the internet is just going to be ablaze with it. So you're not going to be able to ignore it. So yeah, you'll be able to go to work, but all the psychology of everyone around you is going to change. Oh yeah, you might be like, oh, I'm just going to pack my lunchbox like every other day and just go in. It's like, yeah, you say that now, but again, it's not. It doesn't change anything until it does. So.
And here's what I really see, and I don't know if it's going to happen in 2016, but I'm envisioning really this kind of anger and backlash where it's not like where people where they used to cower, where the IRS might audit them.
Yeah.
To F you, I want some effing answers. I want some goddamn answers.
Yeah.
That's the kind of attitude that I see coming out of this. Like people are going to get pissed off.
Yeah. That's
who made you king of this whole effing planet that you lied to us about? Who made you the leader?
Yeah.
I don't effing care what the law says and who wrote the effing laws.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's the whole network grant. I'm a human being. God damn it.
That's the part where, unfortunately, there's not much I can
But that's coming either way. You know
Yeah,
that.
I
Whether
know,
it's the
because-
flat Earth or everything else. I mean, flat Earth is just
Because the flat Earth brings up a big question which nobody really wants to answer, and I think the government's going to try to run away from there with something else, something more sinister, and that is, if you lied about that, what else did you lie about? Basically, if we can't trust you with the shape of the world, what can we trust you with?
Right.
You know, have you told the truth about anything? And
Right.
so it really undermines the whole pinnings of the power structure. And
you got to let me dub that Bee Gees song into this show.
Okay.
I started a joke that started the whole world.
okay,
I mean, it's really
you can
bad.
go ahead. You can do
Yeah.
it. Okay.
All right, listen, we got 30 seconds.
30 seconds. When we come back, we're going to be doing more mail, talking about a little bit more about the debate, and go from there. And yeah, thanks for sticking with us. And we still got 2 segments left.
2 segments and 2 shows. I got one more show after this.
All right.
TikTok.
All right, we'll be right back with Strange World.
Cool.
It seems to me so strange. Check wallet for his name. His face is in the muck. I think his zipper's stuck.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange World. I'm Mark. This is Jonathan, and we're here in segment 3. And remember, don't call in tonight because, we're not here, actually. This is a pre-record, and I'm actually on a different interview right now. I'm actually doing Fade to Black with Jimmy Church as we speak. Hopefully it's going well.
I like when you speak for me. It's almost like I'm a dummy on your lap, but thankfully you don't have your hand up my ass. So that's cool.
Funny. That's good. That's good. And with that, let's get right back into the mailbag, shall we? Left. Yep.
Oh, wait, I want to ask you something before we go any further.
What?
I saw your Flat Earth show, Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes.
Yeah.
So that was a really nice show. I like the way you had the Yule log on.
The Christmas show? I did.
Yeah, I just watched it before we came on tonight.
Yeah, with the Yule log, and I had my my tweed jacket and my little Christmas pin.
Right.
And I had some Christmas cookies, and I had fun with that.
Okay. So can I ask you a question?
God. Out of morbid curiosity, yes, you can ask me a question. What?
Were you wearing your mistletoe belt buckle? Because I saw you were all dressed up real spiffy.
So did they actually make you learn those terms out in Jersey? Is that one of those things? I've never heard that before in my life, a mistletoe belt buckle.
You don't have one of those?
No.
You know what you're supposed to do under the mistletoe.
Yes, I know what you're supposed to do under the mistletoe. Thank you. For those out there that don't, you know what? Okay. What else did you notice about the Christmas show? What else bugged you?
Well, I'll just say this, because people allude to this. They say things like, you guys make a cute couple and whatnot.
Yeah.
Are you guys a couple?
Are you asking?
Yeah.
I'm No, I'm awfully fond of Patricia, but I don't know if we're actually a full-blown item.
Oh, okay.
If that's what you're asking.
Okay. So she didn't say like, "Hey, Mark, what do you want in your stocking?" And you didn't say you and yours. Because I know she dresses very well.
She
High
does.
fashion.
She is high fashion, and yeah, she was wearing her Snow Queen outfit today. But no, she has not asked me what I want in my stocking. Do you have any other stocking jokes?
No, I'll be nice.
You sure?
Yeah, it's just Jonathan from Jersey.
Help.
Actually, I was the kid who, I would go up to Santa at the mall.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "Listen, pal," put my hand up and be like, "I already know I'm on the naughty list, but do me a favor." I was like, "Could you tell me the other girls in my class that are also on it?"
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyway.
That's a good one.
All right.
I can remember that one. All right.
Little Johnny jokes were made about me. Go ahead.
Vlad writes, I guess the NASA Wood budget just got increased. Maybe they'll get their get 3D Hasselblads in that cinema room of theirs. And what he sent me was a link, and you probably saw this on the 16th of this month, which was just shortly after we did our last show. Congress approved the NASA's new budget of $20 billion next year. Imagine where that money's actually going, because they ain't spending it on rockets. $20 billion, that's pretty good for a program that technically doesn't exist. Imagine if you could send this little headline back in time travel, back to in the 1950s. It's like, what happens if we keep this thing going? This NASA thing. What happens? Well, 2016, you're approved for $20 billion for your budget. Yeah, I think they'd say yes to that as well. So thank you, Vlad, for sending that headline, and I read it and immediately got nauseous as soon as I saw it when it came up. Anyway, let's see what else. Robin writes. I like this one. Robin writes, I just noticed, this is Robin Poe, the Army Army radio officer that was interviewed on Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. She said, I just noticed that the number of hits on YouTube for the search Flat Earth just broke 2 million. And the title of the email was 2 million strong, which is true. And you're thinking, wow, that's pretty amazing. Well, no, what's more amazing is that when this thing started out in February, it wasn't even 50,000. And 2 months ago, I think it was at 1 million, I think. So it's really taken a jump in the last 2 months. It's growing. Basically, the algorithms that make the playlist for YouTube are starting to pick it up as well. I think I've told you it's like 1.6, 1.8, 1.9, and then I think it hit like 2.1 yesterday. And so, yeah, it's growing, and the question is, when will it hit critical mass? We'll find out soon enough. What?
No, I'm just giggling about other things.
Really? They're not belt buckle jokes, are they?
Almost as bad.
Oh, okay. Terry writes, I'm very interested in Flat Earth concept, especially how NASA gets away with sending people up in space with the shuttle blasting off from Earth to space. Where does the space shuttle go after it leaves the Earth? I saw where rockets hit the dome of the firmament, but how can they fake sending something as big as a rocket or the space shuttle into space? Thank you very much. Your documentaries are outstanding. Terry. Well, Terry, what they're doing is, if you want to look, because there's some great YouTube videos on this, the rockets are arcing. You've probably seen these, Jonathan, where they take a shallow arc and they roll over. So you'd think the escape velocity would go up about as straight as possible to break Earth orbit. But no, they roll over and are going almost horizontal by the time they get up around, 50, 70,000 feet. And it's really, really shallow at that point. So where are they sending the shuttles and everything? Apparently there is a space graveyard out in the South Pacific, from what I understand, to where they dump all this crap. It's the farthest away from land you could be, so that people don't accidentally run into it, and it's pretty deep on top of it, and that's where they dump them. So yeah, in my opinion, and I'm pretty confident in it, is that nobody, no person has ever gotten in a rocket, which is really just a big pile of liquid explosives, and you set a match to it. Nobody's ever been in one of those things, which is why the Challenger disaster of 1986 is so interesting. You look at that, and those guys supposedly blew up in 1986, but the problem was they weren't actually in the rocket when it blew up. So what do you do with them? Do you do a Capricorn 1 thing and just kill them? Or do you relocate them, put them in witness relocation? And that's what they did. And they're all 6 of them are still alive today. Look it up.
I've seen that link, and it's pretty astounding, especially when you see the pictures, and some of them kept their same names.
Yeah.
But if you think back then, there was no internet, and if you took somebody out of circulation for 2-3 years, people have a short attention span, and then you had the stock market crash, and then you had, so many other things that transpired. Even if they just retired for 5 years and said, "Look, we'll put you back in circulation," people were so caught up with the internet age and AOL and all that good stuff back then.
Yeah, they just didn't know. And honestly, I can't remember the names of the astronauts.
Only Christy McAuliffe. That's the only one I remember.
Yeah, that's the only one people remember. And
McAuliffe.
People,
McAuliffe or McAuliffe?
Crap, I can't remember how it's pronounced. But it doesn't really matter, because even if she was asked, she'd be like, "No, I just have the same name, or a similar name." Right. No one's gonna think for a second it's the same person, because she died. She was blown up.
That's like the movie Office Space. Michael Bolton? Are you related?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No one would ever think that, because why would, if they blew up on the launch, then why would they still be alive? You can't put two and two together. It's like, why would you not be in the launch? It's the weird thing. It's, well, because the entire space program was faked. That's why they weren't on the launch. They're not actually going to put real people on the top of those things. That's dangerous.
Right.
My God. Anyway.
That's a good point.
Crit Killin writes, not your real name, I almost guarantee that. Just wanted to say how much I appreciate the information you have put out. I feel like Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters, in that I am driven to read and study the flat earth and moon, what's really going on, debate so much that I almost feel guilty all the time I spend on YouTube. I thought I knew something until I really started looking at you and Crow and Matt Boylan and Patricia and everyone. I finally listened to a lot of back videos of yours and others, and now see that you guys have really, or are really, thinking this through and arriving at similar or even better conclusions. I am in the movie business, and earlier in my career I was offered various invitations to people, parties, events, and books that promised to give me that extra boost to my life and career. I resisted attending or socializing with these people and groups because they made me feel uneasy. As I look at your research and look into all this hidden in plain sight information, I see that I was possibly being offered a chance to go further, or at least be introduced to some of the stuff years ago, but was too afraid. I now feel like it's been given to me again, kind of like I'm coming back to that point, or back to the opportunity I had years ago, to see more than what we are normally shown now, that I am more mature and have a little more courage and open-mindedness. I'm really excited to learn more about what's going on, where we're living. Really love to know what is beyond the ice wall. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Right on.
Crit Killin from Orem, Utah.
Oh, by the way, a real quick question. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about the space shuttle going up, how it rolls over into it kind of makes more sense. If you go straight up, I guess all force is downward against you, in a sense, whether that's gravity, density, whatever. Yeah. But if you go diagonal or on a slant, would you still produce a lift effect, like when you put your flaps down on a plane and then the air that's running underneath the fuselage then has lift?
Good point.
Is that why they go out on an angle?
I don't know. I doubt it, though, because they're not actually using your standard lift dynamics, from what I understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm asking. I'm wondering if it's better to go out on that trajectory, even though the air gets thinner up there and it might not have the lift.
I doubt it.
Okay.
I doubt it, because it's just straight up thrust. I wouldn't think so, but then again, could be wrong. We'll find out.
Well, if you're trying to go around in a circle on a flat Earth anyway, it would make sense that you'd want to set into motion in a circle.
Well, sure, but the angle they're taking is so steep by comparison. I would think they'd want to get up as fast as they could. But again, I don't know. If somebody's listening, please.
Well, let me just throw this out there, too, because anything's on the table. Anything's possible. Mm-hmm. What if space isn't just space, like we're told, with the gravity or no gravity? But what if there's a jet stream up there as well? Like if this is really an enclosed dome. I mean, it's like an air you have an air conditioning system that's taken, and they've already shown like how this air circulates, whether it's surface albedo or the way cold air to hot air rises and so on. You have tornadoes and stuff.
Yeah.
So who's to say once you get up there and there's a whole other jet stream out in space? I know it sounds crazy, but if you get caught in that, it's like getting caught in a current, like the undertow, or getting caught in a really good current and in the rapids.
Well, yeah. Imagine the first pilots down here that ran into the jet stream once they got up pressurized cabins and got up high enough,
right,
to see it. Imagine what a shock that was.
But what if there's a buffer zone between our atmosphere, then this invisible layer, whatever you want to call it, the ether, the space, and then there's a whole other layer that's pressurized on top, almost like how like when you have a snow globe, if you don't fill it all the way up, there's that air bubble that floats at the top.
Right.
So what if that's where they wind up going to that top layer that's at the top of the dome.
Maybe.
It's pressurized. I don't know.
Might have something. What was this one? John writes, "Hey, Mark, my name is John, and I'm from Guelph, Ontario, Canada. I listen to your show regularly, and during the last one, I noticed you used a crossword snippet in your slideshow. You probably saw this, with the words NASA and Satan filled in. You know that they were connected in the New York Times crossword. I think I found this quite interesting, as I'm a crossword fanatic, and I've been seeing far more frequent references to the ball Earth lately. They are the usual things like NASA, ESA, ISS, various moon, comet, or asteroid names. But I've never come across anything as blatant as this before, at least not that I can remember. And it is 13 across, and it is 6 letters, 13 across. Earth, example.
Wait, say it again?
Earth, what does EG stand for? Example given?
Okay.
Earth, 6 letters. It's sphere. Get it?
No.
13 across. Basically, so I should probably show it to you, but it's 13 across, but it is 6 letters, so it's 6 letters across, and it's Earth. And basically, the answer is sphere, S-P-H-E-R-E. So basically, it's just sphere reinforcement in the crosswords, is what he's saying.
Oh, but you're looking at a crossword.
Yeah, I'm just actually looking at the crossword.
I don't have that in front of me.
Yeah, sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that's all right.
It's tough.
That would help.
Sorry, completely my fault. I just didn't want to send it to you because, well, I was kind of being lazy.
That's like visual jokes work better when you have the visual.
Nice. Nice. Thanks, man. Arturo writes, "Hey, Mark, I almost forgot this guy Austin did a flight simulator called X-Plane, and guess what? I used to fly it because I love aviation, and even on the ground, I still wanted to fly. So I fly that sim, and I had the space shuttle, and it had 3 ways of flight. Total reentry from over Hawaii at 450,000 feet to Edwards Air Force Base in California, doing Mach 28. Then partial entry from about 90,000 feet, and final approach over 35,000 feet, which was still 20 miles from Edwards Air Force. It will be awesome if you could talk to this guy about the simulator. He also has an app that I use when I fly called X Avion. Love to hear what he has to say about the flat Earth and how he does his synthetic view Apple app that I use to when I fly. So yeah, I'm going to look into that and see what I can dig up.
Cool.
So, thank you, Arturo. It's very nice of you. Who we got? Tyson says. Okay. Tyson writes, "Hey, bro. I was wondering if you guys had an official Flat Earth sticker for the back of cars. I'd love to order some. I really like your videos and want to tell you a quick story. So I've talked about everything with my mom, from aliens to everything you can think of in this area. I brought up the Flat Earth a couple days ago and tried to explain it to her. It brought her to tears. It was crazy. She was so offended I was even talking about it. It floored her. Made me think how right you guys are about the taboo of the subject and how people just get sick by it. Anyway, just wanted to share, and love the videos. Funny as hell, and you have helped open my mind, so thank you. I'm former Navy and work as a firefighter now, and have had many talks around the table at the station about this. Pretty amazing. And so thank you very much. And again, do not upset family members. I know you want to share. I know you want to share with people. You want to sit at the dinner table and it's like, guess what? The Earth is flat, and you're just hoping that they don't commit you. But,
can I say something?
Yeah.
If you have an inheritance coming to you, just shut the F up.
There you go.
Let them die and get in the coffin. Then you can put on their tombstone, the Earth is flat.
There you go. Like, no different than Werner von Braun, who put Psalm 19:1 on his headstone.
You know what it is? Some people are so adamant about being right that they don't know when to choose their battles in order to win the war.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? It's sometimes it's better just to let people believe the Earth is round. You know what I mean? If you get along on every other point, especially like with your spouse, your significant other, whoever.
Yeah.
If the cooking is good and the sex is great, shut up about the flat Earth. Sorry.
The truth shall set you free, my friends. Don't listen to Jonathan. Go out and tell everyone you can.
I'm waiting for some guy. No, it'll be like, what difference does it make if the Earth is flat or round, right? And then you see him in the next scene.
Yeah.
And he lost his job, his kids, his home, everything that he loved in life because he was pushing for the flat Earth so hard. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I do.
You have to be careful with who you present to.
You do. You absolutely do. No question.
Yeah.
Drew writes, "You are doing great work. Thanks very much for the research you are doing. I especially appreciate the style of presentation whereby you suggest that we do our own research for ourselves. No assumptions, no alternate agenda, Just the facts. Thanks again, Drew. Thank you, Drew.
Right on.
Short and to the point. How much till the break?
We got 9 minutes.
Cool. All right. Let's see. Cindy writes, because she just listened to show 34. Just listened to your show 34. Thanks for reading my letter and not mentioning my name. I was surprised you titled your video about it. If I had more guts, I would call into the show and discuss more of these things. This is the person that the travel agent. Let's see. It's not just the fact that it's about flat Earth. Just have a case of stage fright or overlaps to the radio. I could chat with you directly if you have some questions or want to hear more about the travel agent world. Please say hi to Jonathan for me. I'm sorry I did not mention him before, but would like him to know that his contribution really helps make the show interesting. He seems to know just when to interject the right comment. I really think that you two guys work well together. Jonathan, please reconsider leaving the show. Your time is better spent on this important issue than say transvestites.
No, transgender. Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. You need to do what's best for yourself. And then on another subject, do you think that Paul McCartney knew something when he wrote Fool on the Hill? Or maybe he didn't actually write it. Listen to the words again if you haven't heard the song in a while. Wow, it is so flat Earth. Maybe you should play a clip of this song between the break or sometime in the show. Oh, round and round and round. P.S. This letter is intended for you guys, not the radio listeners. Great.
Can I just bring up one point?
I did it again. Sorry. You got to put that in the beginning. Don't put it at the end. I don't pre-screen these letters. Sorry.
You don't?
I don't. So you put it in the go. Don't put a P.S. This letter. Don't read this on air. Put it in the beginning. Don't read this on air. And it's not like nobody knows who you are. You're okay. Don't worry.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you say his name in the beginning?
Her. It was her last time. But anyway, go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, is that Cindy?
Yeah.
Did I just say her name?
Dude, don't say Cindy. We're not supposed to say Cindy's name on the air.
And she's at some big
travel
aeronautical?
No, that's her boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not supposed to talk about him either because
I'll edit it out. I'll put a beep over it.
He's kind of grumpy. No, we didn't actually. No, we're fine.
What I was going to say is on this whole transgender issue.
Yeah.
Again, the reason I brought Carolyn into the mix is, again, if people can't handle somebody's true life here on Earth, and by true life I mean this is the life they live. There's no refuting it. It's not like the flat Earth or round Earth or anything else you want to wish to refute or debunk. Mm-hmm. This is somebody telling their story. If you can't deal with that reality, then you're not ready for the reality of aliens walking among us or, you know what I mean, underground bases and everything else. Like, that'll really blow your effing skull.
True.
This is somebody's real life, and I don't know what to say to that. Like, I'm open. Anybody who wants, by the way, anybody who wants to come on my show, Perceptions Talk Radio, and talk about any topic they want, within reason. If you're going to start cursing or, you know, really being rude to people, I'll block that. But if you want to come up and talk about any topic, I'm open. Just email me at perceptionstalkradio@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And let's go. Let's spin it.
Right on.
Okay.
Right on. Nathan writes, "Hey guys, here's another Flat Earth Dome reference movie. Check it out. And by the way, did you ever get around to watching Pan? You know, that's the new Peter Pan movie with Hugh Jackman.
I heard about it.
Hugh Jackman as and yeah, it was interesting when they took the kids in the beginning. The ship goes straight up like a freaking UFO, the pirate ship, and pops out. Through,
you saw it?
Yeah, through the water. I downloaded it, and yeah, it did seem like they had gone into a completely another world, which was above our world. So very, very interesting, and they did it really quickly, and most people missed it. But the movie he wanted to mention was Room from 2015, this year. The plot is, after 5-year-old Jack and his mother escape from the enclosed surroundings that Jack has known his entire life, the boy makes a thrilling discovery: the outside world. Kind of like a Boy on the Bubble movie, I think. I don't think it actually made the theaters. So,
Boy in the Bubble, you mean the crazy version, the funny version, or you mean the one with John Travolta?
The John Travolta one, I think. Okay. I think it's kind of like that. But anyway, Brie Larson was. I like her. She played the mother in that, I think, or at least the parental type person. Anyway, that's kind of cool. So thank you very much, Nathan, for sending that. What else we got? How many minutes we got?
Let's go for 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 3.5.
Okay, perfect. Plenty of time.
So I got to edit after this, right?
Yeah. Okay, so Dojo writes, "Hey Mark, long time, second time. I'm listening to your latest episode and it occurred to me that a really great way to debate whether or not flat Earth should be given equal TV time is to present it as follows. Using mainstream scientific understanding of things, the Earth is in fact flat if you're flying past it fast enough, close to the speed of light. Vsauce guy talks about this in his video. Therefore, discussing under which conditions is the Earth flat is quite appropriate. This might be a wedge into legitimate conversation as well as your ammunition for your appearance on Coast to Coast. Secondly, the Earth is flat from a philosophical perspective since we've only seen it on TV and computer screens. These two facts are hard to refute by a reasonable person, and I hope you find this useful in your future presentations. Not that you need my help. You're doing great all on your own. Big fan, Dojo." Yeah, maybe, but it still sounds a little highbrow. If you're flying past the speed of, doing the speed of light thing, it's not bad. I don't hate it. Let's go back to Nathan. Nathan writes, "Hey, he just watched Room. It's really good, so touching and thought-provoking." Probably shouldn't have read that. That was way too short. That was just a follow-up email. I'm just burning through these because I try to save the ones I'm going to read on air, and I think I saved that one because it was relevant and I forgot it was there. This one's from Greg from New Zealand. "Hey, Mark, I saw your last TFR show. In my opinion, I think Neil debunked Tyson is just trying to avoid any potential debate because he knows the evidence is weak."
I like that. Neil debunked Tyson.
Neil debunked Tyson. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Neil was supposed to be on the Art Bell show. I saw the email from his producer, and they turned me down flat, even though he was just on. He would not go on to discuss the shape of the world. And you'd think it would be an easy thing for him to go on and just laugh his way through and charm me and say, no, it's ridiculous,
And by way of Mark, I saw the email too.
Yes, you did. I did send it to you, right?
Yeah, I saw it. I read it.
Yeah, it's real. It was real. He was going to be on the show, and they couldn't get him, and so they ended up getting Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I love the words they use in that industry, in a polite way of saying, "No, we won't do this show." I won't say what they wrote.
Yeah. In this case, it was polite, like to the point where it's like, "Yeah, don't bring this topic up again."
Yeah, exactly.
You're not getting Mark and Neil together in a room, which is fine.
It was almost as direct as, "Do you believe in God?" And Mark's like, "Yeah, why?" And it's like, "Well, you got a better chance of seeing God before you see Neil deGrasse Tyson debating you on this topic."
Isn't that the truth? Okay, real quick, before the break, Nathan writes, "Hey Mark, I really find this interesting. I also think they're looking for something out there, but it goes back to the creator of the barrier. But why the lie? Wouldn't people figure it out? Like I've stumbled across this. But these theories, as some would call it, aren't theories. They are more than fiction. I think the Earth is alive. I know it. I can feel it. I can see it. My senses have picked up my emotions. I've picked up on this. My habits have changed. My outlook on the world before testing and reading what I've thought and seen in my sleep, something is definitely going on, but I'm so confused."
Let's get out of here on this segment.
All right. And when we come back, we'll read less hyped up letters, and hopefully we'll get back to some sort of level playing field.
Right on.
All right. We'll be right back.
Bye.
Welcome back to Strange World with Mark and Jonathan. This is the last segment. Mercifully, it's the last segment. And we're going to go through some more mail. Because remember, you can't call in live during the show because it's a pre-record and we aren't here. That phone is going to go nowhere. So hopefully you didn't write down the number last time and calling in this time. Because I know we take calls usually, but we aren't doing this kind because I am double booked. Andrew writes, "I thought of sending this to Jonathan because he never gets any mail. But I couldn't find an email for him. If he posts I'll send him something bigger. Something I haven't heard people talk about is the comets. A rocket works in atmosphere because a solid material is expanding into a gas. The expanding gas pushes on the atmosphere in one direction and the rocket in the other. In a frictionless vacuum of space, you should be able to push an object, and both it and you would move away from each other. However, the rocket is not pushing on the gas. A balloon would work since the energy is stored in the expanding rubber. The balloon actually pushes the gas out as it tries to return to its smaller original shape. They claim with a rocket that no pushing force is needed and that the expanding gas spreading into a vacuum would create thrust on its own. Isn't that the same thing as a comet? We are told that it has solid parts that expand into gas and shoot out millions of miles into space, making a tail, and yet there is no propulsion created. The comet follows a set course based on gravity around the sun with no effect caused by the massive amounts of gas shooting off of it at all. Andrew. Yeah. Andrew, you got a point there. And if someone would like to address it, please feel free, because I'm not going to touch it. Because that delves into something that actually, you know what? You know who could address that would be Neil deGrasse Tyson. Somebody should send that to him. And if somebody doesn't know his email, Neil's email address, please send me an email and I will shoot it to you, so you can just badger him. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So Ron writes, "Hi Mark, this is my first time writing you. I've watched all your clues videos the other day and totally immersed myself in the flat earth research about 3 days ago. My world is really spinning." Nice. I see what you did there. "Not that I can say the same for this world we live on at the moment." Funny. "Your videos are so well done, and I have watched a few of the other people who have posted some excellent materials as well. Briefly, I will just share the accident that caused me to start somewhat mysteriously. If one chooses to believe in mysteries for some unknown reason, I was guided right to the beginning of this movie on HBO called The Giver." That's with Jeff Bridges. It was a DVD, decent cast, but it just didn't go anywhere. After watching it, I went back to my YouTube surfing, and magically, this flat Earth subject came up. I hear that from a lot of people, actually. That it was like recommended for you, flat Earth, right? That should not even be there if they're actually trying to shut it down. Not sure how. I have long been a conspiracy researcher and out-of-the-box thinker most of my life. I survived and escaped 15 years in Scientology, left in 1985. And because of my staff post as a PR director for the tri-state New York area, I was fortunate to begin my own searching into alternative frames of reference and deeper conspiracies starting back then. We'll leave it at that. And then he asks about questions, blah, 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 meteors, and some other fun stuff. And it looks like he's just starting his journey. So I'm just kind of reading. Thank you, Ron, from Oyster Bay, New York. And he really appreciates the advice you have about not mentioning flat Earth when talking to people. I mentioned it to my longtime publisher, author, friend the other day, and he went nuts. I was surprised. He jumped at my thinking with all fours and claws extracted, saying he had looked into it and it's a trap. The Earth is a sphere. Case closed. Wow, This is coming from someone who is dealing with interdimensional theories about time travel and government cover-ups. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, the guy is from his friend is from Montauk Project Books, and that blew and Flat Earth blew his skull. And Flat Earth blew him up. He's going, this can't be. It can't be. And of course, we hear this all the time because people, it's too big. The subject is so big physically that they have a really, really hard time with it. What? It happens. Look, man, even me. I mean, I remember the words they came out of my mouth when I first looked at it. I said, no effing way. There's no effing way this thing could be real.
All right, let me just go into my John from Jersey rant mode here.
Sure.
I'm willing to put myself out there and be laughed at later on and have people say, "And you actually believe that the Earth was flat?" Okay, I'd rather take that chance than being too big of an effing pussy to even look at it and say, "Okay, let's at least analyze this and eliminate the possibilities."
Yeah.
And move on.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how I see these people. That people that just like you said, the guy's open-minded to what? Interstellar travel and time travel?
Yeah, interdimensional travel. Yeah.
Right. Interdimensional, because the third and fourth dimension here that we've obviously mastered isn't enough for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and doesn't he realize that they're connected anyway? Let's say you could travel into another dimension. What if that dimension showed you that the world where you lived wasn't exactly the shape you were looking at?
That's what cracks me up about scientists, though, and people with that mindset. They're like, we're gonna figure out how to open up stargates and time portals and things, and CERN, and go into other dimensions and other worlds. It's like, why? So we could F it up there too?
Yeah.
So we can give them usury and maybe move the Federal Reserve there too and enslave them? Are you effing kidding me?
Yeah.
We're not even responsible for this Earth. We're not even good custodians here.
Yeah.
Why don't we master this place and eliminate poverty and eliminate war and eliminate this bullshit by, it's not even a bipartisan voting system.
Yeah.
Before we even go on to other worlds.
Agreed.
I think we belong in this penal colony, this prison planet, until we can prove ourselves.
Yeah.
And then maybe the firmament will open up.
I hear you.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Hey,
I'm sorry. Close-minded people just...
I know. Look, I know you don't have as much patience as I do, but that's because I was trained in it. I mean, I did the support thing for so long, and you just got to deal with, get a handhold a lot of people. In this case, though, unfortunately, we got to accelerate the process, so there's not going to be as much hand-holding as there should be, and there's going to be people that are going to freak out, like you predicted.
Well, let me ask you something. Even in your own research, if something is shot down or proven wrong, even one aspect of it,
yeah,
doesn't that leave you then time and energy to put towards other things that are factual or important?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to keep carrying on and repeating the same? It was like the thing you debunked 2 weeks ago with Kubrick.
Yeah.
After you had posted the retraction and post the information that was pertinent, and you got a lot of hits on that. What did you finally get on that? 28,000 hits? 30,000?
What, on it now? No, it's like 70.
I haven't even looked.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
But while you posted that and other people were commenting, thank you for posting this important update.
Yeah.
There was another guy on the radio on one of these conspiracy shows going on and saying, this is the biggest information ever to come out and revealed. I knew that we never went to the moon, and this video proves it. And then he says in the same breath, I've only watched the first 7 minutes, and I can't wait to finish and see what else is said on it. And I'm cracking up, and I'm trying to call the guy saying, hey, idiot, you're really sounding like a tool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Meanwhile, I bid on it, and then once I finished it, it looked like there was missing parts to it. And yeah, then when I found the outtake reel, it was like, crap. It's too good to be true. And then, yeah, I had to retract it very, very quickly. And Chris was giving me some praises just because I could have gone the other way and milked it for everything it was worth as it was being real and just buried the outtakes. And I didn't. Because honestly, because other people were following it. They were going, people were reproducing the original one that I posted on my thing. I'm going, no, it's fake. Don't keep going down this road. Plus, I spun it into the flat Earth thing, which was nice.
And to that end, doesn't Neil deGrasse Tyson or Neil Debunker Tyson? I'm going to start calling him that. Neil Debunker Tyson.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's good.
Doesn't he have a certain responsibility to the American public and everybody in the world over to put this baby to rest in 5 minutes or whatever a little amount of energy it takes?
Yeah,
you should. So we can all get on with our little lives.
Yeah. As an astrophysicist, you should be able to shoot down flat Earth in a matter of minutes. Just a few minutes. You say, okay, here it is. Here's why it's done. It's done. And yet all these professors have been emailed for the last 10 months from all these different people all over the world. And nobody's come back. Even secondhand. And say, look, this professor said he wanted to do this anonymously. Here's the proof. Here's the magic bullet, the silver bullet that stops this werewolf. And they can't do it. And the werewolf just keeps running down the countryside. Sorry, I love this analogy. I do. It's just low. People don't have, they think they've got a silver bullet in their gun. It's like, bang, bang. Nope. Da. They just get hacked up. That thing just keeps moving.
To borrow the line from V for Vendetta, why won't you die?
Exactly. Oh, that's good.
Because you can't kill ideas. That's what you should play on your
show.
Oh,
I should. I'm going to steal that clip.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly which part you're talking about. Yeah, that's great.
Because all you have are bullets.
There you go. Yeah, you can't kill an idea,
yeah.
Especially in this case. Ramona writes, hello, there's a lot of proofs that the ancients could fly. That's how they knew the Earth was flat. Ooh. Then the theory of the globe came out. When we couldn't fly, only float. When we learned to fly and saw for ourselves it was flat, they have used it in their favor ever since. Judy. Thanks, Judy. Absolutely right. Until the technology was available, even the authority, even the people that supposedly knew, didn't know for sure. You needed the internal combustion engine and a plane with a pressurized cabin that could fly in cold weather. Until you had that, what did you really know? You didn't know jack. Kid writes, you think the Pangea continental drift theory is possible on a flat Earth. Plants growing at higher altitudes have developed defense mechanisms against higher levels of UVA and UVB rays from the sun. Strange how a few thousand feet of elevation can make such a difference, considering the sun is so far away. Wink. My latest munchie recommendation is Chipotle cheddar cheese. Cheez-It Zings. It's crunch with a punch. It accompanies Orange Crush quite nicely. Hey, let's take a minute to appreciate the fact that I found the registered trademark symbol on my keyboard. I had no idea.
Wow.
It's like effing Narnia in this digital bitch. Later, homie.
That's great.
Wow. I've got to prove some of these things.
You got to send me that one. Copy and send me that one. That's funny.
I'm going to forward this to Jonathan right now. This is great.
Right on.
I had no idea he was going to promote Chipotle Cheddar Cheez-It Zings.
Wow.
That's great. So yeah, I'm seriously. It's kind of like I'm Will Ferrell in Ron Burgundy in Anchorman when I read the teleprompter. And F you, San Diego. You know, one of those deals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's don't do it. No, if you put it on the teleprompter, he's gonna read it. Bill writes, this site brought up the Suez Canal, perfect proof of the flat Earth. And he brought up a thing. Basically, the Suez Canal was built where, you know, they didn't really take into account the curvature of the Earth, like a lot of things, because like the aqueducts of the Romans, that was a perfect example. And that was, the Romans certainly weren't going to take into account the curvature of the Earth. They wouldn't have known it. And so why, when they made the aqueduct, if the curvature was actually real and the distance they thought it was, then eventually the water would have just stopped because it couldn't have gone up any further. Sure. They would have been building. It's like, wait, why is the water not working? So and this guy's saying the Suez Canal applies. Yeah, I know. These are the interesting little tidbits. Here's a regular that writes, this is M. Malone. Mark, at the 14-15 mark, you'll see where Stanton Friedman, this is getting into the things from the debate, is knowledgeable about the stars not appearing from below the horizon. It may be something, especially if you put his feet to the fire with this, that throws him off a little bit. The Midnight Sun is another good one. Mr. Morgall did a good job, but being tag-teamed by Art Bell and Dr. Grayland, he forgot to mention this phenomena. I don't know if you taped it already, but good luck either way. Actually, in this case, didn't need it because Stanton didn't brief himself on anything. So there you go. Let's see. SRV writes, wow, thanks for the videos. Everything fits. The Tower of Babel, the blue sky, the flights. Thank you for being so brave. I couldn't believe the concept at first, but with time it all makes sense when challenged. I wonder if this is the Great Deception. Thanks again. And the Great Deception he's talking about is the biblical version, the Great Deception. Honestly, and people say, well, no, it's not. It was this, it was that. It's like, man, if this isn't the Great Deception, I don't know what a better candidate would be, other than maybe, a fake second coming. One of those things. Let's see here. Mark, you did a great job with the Flat Earth Clues. I homeschool my two youngest children, and even at their young age, 8 and 14, it has been a challenge trying to introduce a new model of the Earth to them. Even so, they are slowly asking more questions and pondering the facts. One way I piqued my youngest daughter, Adia's, interest when we played with bubbles one day. While she was holding a large bubble in her hand, I talked with her about how God holds us in his hand the same way, with the bubble being our protection, also creating a greenhouse for all living things to grow. She loved the visual. I attached a photo of that day. You're welcome to use it if you like. And I'm going to send this just to see what his reaction is. I'm going to send this photo to Jonathan right now. So hang with me 1 second. There you go. I like that.
Good luck.
Take care, and thanks again for all our efforts at bringing truth to humanity. Regards, Dana from Irvine, California. And I love that picture, and I'm actually using that in the Christmas
Question everything. Ooh.
Yeah. It's kind of fun.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Pretty fun for an amateur and a non-model child. You know what I mean?
Very good.
Yeah.
This photographer approves.
Yeah, there you go. And you have given up all rights if we make money off this picture. No, I'm totally kidding.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a professional photographer. Good effing luck.
Kid writes, believing in a flat earth has greatly diminished my zeal for sci-fi movies. Recently watched The Martian and just couldn't get into it like I would have a year ago. Kind of a bummer. and he's right, because I won't even, I won't see Martian for a completely different reason. But he's right. Yeah, all sci-fi movies for me. I've just been kind of lost when it comes to it. Malia writes, hey Mark, I got a question for you if you're able to provide any insight into this. Given that the Earth is flat, I believe you mentioned that we live in a holographic universe. Well, maybe, kind of, possible. It's possible. If we do live in a holographic universe, how do you factor in astrology? where although it is also based on a geocentric model where Earth is at the center, it also factors in the energy of the planets and their influence on personality traits. If you do believe in astrology, I don't know if you do, but if you would consider the idea, then the planets must be real, whether the ones we see or not. What are your thoughts on this? And you've heard me say this before, Jonathan. That is, people say, doesn't the flat Earth kill astrology? I go, no, it doesn't. I mean, astrology is still really just a basic, a very complex clock system with different objects in the sky meaning different things. Just because Jupiter is not this giant gaseous body, and it is much, much closer, doesn't diminish what astrology is for some people. So if you get a lot out of it, and everyone's into their horoscope thing, I had a girlfriend who was a double Gemini with a bad moon rising. Then great, good for you. This doesn't change anything. The stars are still there, the planets are still there, but they're much, much smaller, much, much closer. They're much more intimate.
Absolutely.
So,
and I mean, couldn't the firmament work like a contact lens or like a parallel? What is it? Convex lens?
Convex lens, yeah.
Couldn't it possibly amplify things? I mean, we don't even know really how light waves. Again, we believe in science.
Yeah.
And they talk about light bending this and redshift that and that and that and that. And we have to take it on faith that what they're saying is true. Even those pictures from the Hubble telescope, these are all the galaxies for billions of billion,
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, okay, and?
Good point. Charles writes, a very classy evening. It's about the debate. This was everything that the Bell experience wouldn't have been. Mark, you are masterful. My hat is off to you. Stanton was polite and filled with class. Thanks, Charles. How much more time I got?
You kind of did the match like with fencing foils or whatever.
Yeah.
Good form, sir. Good form. That was a good point there.
Thank you. Quite a change from the old opponents.
Although when Neil DeBunker Tyson's coming in, I mean, you're going with pistols.
Oh,
10 steps.
I feel we'll
20 paces.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do there.
I don't know what's going to happen then.
Yeah, because I just can't see it. He just can't do it. He can't do it. I know the arguments. I'm sorry. I know all the arguments backwards and forwards. There's nothing he can pull out of his hat at this point.
Right.
Or whatever. Hi, Mark and Jonathan. Jain religion is an offshoot of Hinduism, and there's a link to their detailed view of cosmology, which is pretty much a flat enclosed Earth. Here is a kicker. Mount Meru is the center of the world, surrounded by the Jambu Difbuk, whatever, in form of a circle forming a diameter of 100,000 yojans. There are two sets of sun, moon, and stars revolving around Mount Meru. While one set works, the other set rests behind the Mount Meru. Two sets of sun, moons, and stars. That screams gaming instance. Thank you, Balajai.
Right on.
Yeah, that was written to both of us. I think you got that one. At the same
By
time.
the way, can I give you my ultimate, like what I envision the ultimate match between you and NDT would be?
Oh God, yes, sure.
All right, so you're sitting in an arena because I want my bloodlust is going. I want like UFC's kind of stuff. You're sitting civilized at separate tables and you're debating across from each other. Then we turn up the heat slowly.
Yeah.
To kind of antagonize you both. And then we start dropping in weapons in the middle onto a table, just in case you guys start losing it, right?
Yeah.
And if that doesn't encourage you, then we put in a honey badger in the room with you.
Oh my God.
What do you think?
You got some twisted. You kind of your childhood was a little dark, a little rocky.
I don't know. I want some excitement. I mean, come on. There's a lot of people that want excitement.
Yeah, I know. People want the drama.
They want blood.
They do. They do want blood, and they want and that's why I still think that Neil could get out in front of this thing and be the hero. But I don't think he's going to. He's not going to be able to do this. He'll have to send a minion out first. I don't know who he's going to sacrifice. Somebody at Cal Poly or some big astrophysicist that does a lot of lectures.
If you had lopped off Stanton's head and then yelled out, "Are you not entertained?" it still wouldn't be enough.
That's great. That's true. How many more minutes I got left?
We got about 6 minutes.
Okay, perfect. I get a few more emails. Hey, Mark, it's Jared Hicks. I've called a few times. Was just thinking west and east on a globe should be straight, but on a flat Earth they're curved. Nothing new. But if a gyroscope stays set in one position, they should be able to use them as a compass, too. If it started up looking west after a long flight, it should still be looking west. I don't know if you can even tell which way it's oriented, but if someone could tell, they should see the curve in east or west after moving enough on the Earth. If anyone could do this experiment, it would be one more proof. Hope all is well. Please don't read my name on air. Just kidding. Ha. Love how people write that after their name. Thank you, Jared Hicks. I'm sorry, Jared Eli Hicks. email. I'm going to put his email just because he messed with me. Alpha to beta at me.com. So email Jared and give him a piece of your mind. Sorry, I had to. Okay, what else we got? Let's.
I don't see this. By the way, I don't get any of these emails. You don't forward them to me or anything, so I'm really.
Yeah, well, no, because I don't.
I'm hearing them too.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I don't want unless they mention you specifically, unless they're calling you out.
Right.
Hey, Mark, the discussion with Stan Freeman on TFR was outstanding. It was sort of like a man from the future went back in time to inform a scientist of what the Earth was and is really like. Here's to hoping that planted seed flourishes and many more tune into our truth and reality. Your assumption of the dome theory is absolute and correct, and there are many others as well. And you may have surmised from the subject line many kingdoms or kingdoms, as they were once known. That's kind of good. Kingdoms flourish and are true wonders. Past and present kings and queens sure like to add and subtract and change symbols we now know as letters and language, don't they? I'm just the messenger, but still just an average man in this kingdom of ours. Michael.
So you're saying we have kings of each domain, of each domed.
Yes.
Right? An overlord.
Yeah, that's good. Absolutely. Let's see. Hey, Mark. It's Marty. I'm about an hour and 8 minutes into the debate. I'm curious of how much elevation you would have to use on the radio wave targeting systems that Sean the missile guy talks about. I mean, if you're bouncing a 2-inch radar radio wave off something they call an ionosphere that is supposed to be 30 to 600 miles above us and it supposedly reflects back down to the ship you're targeting, you wouldn't point it only a few feet off the surface of the ocean directly at the ship. I don't know what the math to make the equation, but I'm sure someone out there does. But I'm sure you're aiming at something only 60 miles away and you're reflecting off something only 30 miles up. You would have to point that thing way up. And if it was, say, 500, 600 miles up, you'd be pointing almost straight up. So if you get a chance, talk to Sean again. Maybe you can get him to talk about that so he could clarify that there's not pointing at the ionosphere. Yeah, actually, Marty, he's already done that. Thank you, Marty. But Sean specified very clearly, listen to his interview again where he says, look, it's... we're not bouncing anything. In fact, he offered that before I even asked.
Do you want me to have him clarify? Because he might come on Christmas night to talk about Christmas.
He can if he wants, but I haven't gotten that many people mention it. Let's see here. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, by the way, when you just mentioned kingdoms,
yeah,
I had an image of, remember that Iron Maiden cover from Power Slave with the big pyramid?
Yeah.
Do you remember that cover? That's what I'm picturing we're going to find something like that in Antarctica or something. That would be awesome.
That would be cool. Mark, I've been eagerly waiting to speak or chat to you about this phenomenon taking place within the flat Earth. I was in the Navy for 4 years. My job was operations specialist. We work in the nerve center of all naval vessels. We operate radar, dead reckoning, plotting ship's course via radar points. We are also air controllers, not traffic controllers. After discovering the flat Earth, I started to immediately think back to my Navy days, being that I spent so much time at sea. What I remember was when on lookout watches, you were told the horizon is approximately 12 miles, to give roundabout distances for contacts and or fixed positions on land. Never were we told to make calculations when plotting a course to reflect the Earth's curvature. I just listened to your debate with Stanton on TFR, and I can tell you that after listening to the show, most of his rebuttals were the same repeated banter all the globalists speak. Mostly because he's seen moon rock photos, LOL. I respect the man greatly. I believe after he sees the flat Earth clues, he'll begin to flip. If you ever have some free time, drop me a line. Love to chat, bounce ideas, blah, blah, blah. Thank you, John.
All right, listen, we got about less than 2 minutes left.
Okay.
What are you doing this Christmas?
I am spending it with family. I'm doing a church service on Christmas Eve with family, including my 97-year-old grandfather.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of fun. And then Christmas morning with the family, and we're going out to Chinese. Like some people do.
Get out.
Yeah, we're gonna do some fun stuff. And then, by the way, next week we have. What are you doing?
We're going to go to Melissa's. We're going to take it easy. I get my son, and then we'll make our rounds. We'll go see my parents and whatnot.
Cool.
But it's pretty low-key here. I like a quiet Christmas. And I wish it's going to be really warm in New Jersey, like 67 degrees.
Wow.
I love when it's like a white Christmas as far as like a nice little dusting and the trees look real pretty.
Sure.
But it's been a while since that. No more sledding,
Cool. Cool, that's great. Next week, by the way, we are doing, because next week will be the 29th. You're going to be around the 29th?
My last show, I wouldn't miss it.
You're killing me. We have Jeffrey Grupp on.
Oh,
think.
awesome.
Yeah, he's going to release his new video, and in fact, we may do a pre-record. We haven't made up our mind yet on that, but he's very excited about it. He's saying this is his best work yet. We've already had him on, as you know, like 3 times. So
we're not going to do predictions then. I can do
no,
predictions on my program.
Yeah, we'll do predictions on your program. No need to repeat it. And then so very excited about that. And with that, I think it wraps up, puts a Christmas bow on another Strange World. And we'll see you guys again next week. All right, are we out of time, or how much time we got?
We're out.
Okay, good.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
See you next time.
Hello, I'm Bob Ross, and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your oil paints and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. Start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. This is your world. You're the creator. Find freedom on this canvas. Believe that you can do it. Cause you can do it. Give it a little touch. Give it a little push. Make love to the canvas. Give it a little touch. Give it a little push. Caress it. Very gentle. Grab it, lift it, fluff it. You can go on and on and on. Back and forth, layer after layer after layer. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. This is your world. You're the creator. Find freedom on this canvas. Believe that you can do it, cause you can do it. Relax, let it flow. Think like water. Relax, let it flow. You can go on and on and on. We don't make mistakes. We just have happy accidents. You can do anything that you want to do. Total power. Sing along, have a good time. This is your world. You're the creator. Find freedom on this canvas. Believe that you can do it. Cause you can do it. Cause you can do it. I believe. Every day's a good day when you paint. I believe. It'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe. Every day's a good day when you paint. I believe. It'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart.